Hello, welcome back to Need for Speed Unbound. Today, we are going to be taking a look at the Chevy Bel Air from 1955 to see if this thing is any good in S-Class. The very first thing we are going to do is we are going to swap in the 6.2 liter V8 engine, which is the second one from the right. Then, for the parts, it is going to be basically Elite everything. Elite induction, Elite ECU, Elite fuel system, Elite exhaust, Elite screw supercharger. But then we have Sport Nitrous with Elite road suspension. We have the basic brakes with the Elite grip tires, the Elite clutch, the Sport 4-speed gearbox. You can move it down, but you're going to have less top speed, and it's not like you can really do anything else to put more top speed into it because everything's Elite already. So I don't really recommend that. And if you try and go up, you will see you jump into the S Plus class. It would be nice if you could use a 5 or 6 speed on this build, but 4 speed is where it has to sit, unless you want to go slower. We have the Elite differential with Super Nitrous grip and drift. For the handling, we're at 55% grip. Steering sensitivity is all the way up, downforce is all the way up, traction control is off, and brake tap is drift entry. That will give us 202 miles per hour with the 0 to 60 of 3.3, quarter mile of 10.7, and the max torque and horsepower are both over 1,000. So it is time to go race this thing and see if it was a waste of money or not. Alright, I'm going to get this launch, which wasn't too bad. And off the line, I mean, it's a little slow compared to anything else in A-Class, which I 100% expect just because it doesn't have the best 0 to 60 of anything else. Ooh, wow, I took that corner very poorly. But I ended up recovering it, so it all works out in the end. But that first corner was taken so bad, it's not even funny. Let's see if I can make up for it here. Alright, so it's drifting around this corner pretty well until it just kind of petered out for whatever reason. But at least I'm now into the lead. And that one was pretty good. And it stayed into a micro drift all the way through. So I'm not upset about that at all. And let's see here. Coming around here. Oh, that went a little wider than I would have otherwise liked it to. But otherwise, it's not too bad so far, especially with having such bad brakes. You'd think it would not want to turn as much as it has actually been turning. I thought that was a cop for a second. I thought it was like one of the SUVs. I was like, those aren't in the races? What in the world? Alright, let's see if I can get anywhere down this dirt section without dying. Alright, hey, that wasn't very nice. There could be kids watching this. Nice little drift coming out. And we're going to come around this corner. And now comes the fun, tricky portion of the race. Let's see how we do. That was actually pretty decent around there. I am not upset about that one. I am doing a lot of brake to drift with handbrake. Otherwise, it doesn't seem to respond quite as well as I would like. Unless it's one of the very slower get-goes. Like this was just handbrake, so that wasn't a big deal right there. But let's see what we can put up with the final time if I don't hit anything. I hit something even though I didn't want to, but with really bad brakes I'm not surprised. Coming through here. Alright, for this race, not the greatest. I put up over 220 for the time. I have put up 214, I think. 213 is probably my best, so it's about 9 to 10 seconds slower than my best vehicle. But it felt pretty good. I'm going to see if there's a different race, maybe where this car can come alive a little bit better and put down a better time. Alright, let's get the launch and see if we can do any better on Fishhook than we did on Blue Collar. Again, off the line, not great, but that's just due to that slow 0 to 60 and quarter mile. So I don't expect it to be great off of there, but I did get a good amount of draft burst NOS, so I'm not upset about that part. And it helped get me up in my speed pretty well, but this thing just doesn't want to handle correctly. which doesn't surprise me because these old vehicles rarely want to. Maybe turning traction control on would help. I don't know. I don't feel like it does anything in this game. Anytime I've tried to use it, I don't feel any difference in how my car handles or drives. But as you can see, we are just cooking right up speed-wise down these straights. So that's a good thing. Except it got a little loose there. Which, again, doesn't surprise me because these old cars just don't handle well. But I did make it around that corner better than I thought I was going to. So that is nice. I started to go a little too wide. But I'm going to get through there and I'm going to get that extra boost back for my NOS bottles. We're going to come up to the section that I think is going to start challenging this car right here. I'm going to slow down a little bit. And then that was a tap drift along with handbrake just to make it around the corner a little bit better. And this part won't be too bad. It's going to be the switchbacks coming up that are going to be problematic. But on the straightaways is where this car shines because it can just accelerate up and get really close to hitting that top speed of, what was it, 202? Oh, I'm glad that guy didn't get in my way because that would have been very problematic for me. Alright, here we go. Real nice little drift. It didn't quite keep going as much as I would have liked. I would have liked to have stayed on the road versus gripped up onto the grass, but that's going to happen. And then here comes the last real turn, if you want to call it that, of this course. I did not mean to take this jump, but I didn't feel like trying to accidentally overcorrect to miss. So, let's see how fast we can get going down this straight right here. We are topping out at, looked like 204 was the top there. So I feel like the car did much better on that race. What was my final time? That will be the ultimate deciding factor. Final time was 2:36, which pretty decent for that race. That seems like a really good time. So if it's a race like the Fishhook where you have a lot of straights, this is going to be a pretty decent build to use on that one because it does seem to accelerate pretty quickly and get to that top speed, which 203, 204 down a straight, you can't complain about. For the other race where it was, what was it, blue collar, where it was much more windy and twisty, I don't recommend it because the acceleration isn't that great. So when you're coming out of those corners, you're trying to build back up to that speed and it's just not going to happen real quick, which, you know, resulted in not a great time for it. So curvy build or curvy races, don't use this car. Ones that have a lot of straights where you can get up to time or up to speed, yeah, this is a pretty good car for that one. So definitely not an all-around build, but a straightaway build for sure. I think probably Fishhook would also be a good race for this car. That's going to do it. If you haven't already, please subscribe to the channel. Leave the comments on down below. Smash the like button, and I will see you in the next one.